Hey guys, it's Adrian. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm here to bring you my spring book haul. But before we jump into all of the exciting books, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Where in God's name has Adrian been? Nothing really happened. I just got really busy. The end of April, my husband had to work at home because he was having construction being done in his office, which means I couldn't film in my office because that's where my bookshelf is. Unfortunately, work takes priority over books. Then my kids were on vacation, and at the same time we were re-landscaping my backyard, and then my mom came, so I've had no time. As much as I love booktube, sometimes I have to put it on the back burner because life just gets too busy. But anyway, I have great things planned for you for the rest of the month of May and for the month of June, starting off with a book haul. I haven't actually purchased any books in the last month or two because in the month of May I haven't really read, and if you saw my reading goals video back in January, I've got a 3-to-1 ratio, read 3 books, buy 1 book. Haven't been reading that many books, haven't bought that many books, but I do have about 7 or so books to show you right now, so let's just jump right in. As usual, let's start off with the books that I've borrowed. I haven't borrowed any books from the library recently. I haven't had time to go to the library, but I do have a lovely friend who loans me her books once in a while, and the first book that I have for you is Sleeping Giants by Sylvian Neuvel. That's the way you pronounce it in Dutch. I don't know how you pronounce it in English. I'm gonna roll with it. I don't really know what this book is about, except they find like hands, robot hands, I don't know. But anyway, I've heard a lot of things about it, even though I don't know what it's actually about. But it fits in with my quarterly reading challenge to read sci-fi books, which I have not done very many of yet. Next up is The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. I know nothing about this book, but my friend loaned it to me because she said that she thought I would like it. It's a movie, apparently. Apparently it's a movie. Didn't know that either. So I will be reading this one soon as well, once I figure out what it's actually about. Next up is a book that I bought purely because it made me laugh and it was on the bargain show for $3, so how could I resist? And that book is The Art of Baking Blind by Sarah Vaughan. For those of you who don't know, I actually have a degree in pastry arts and I am legally blind, so how could I pass it up? This one is about a baking contest. That's all I know. It's great for contemporary books, for the next contemporary-a-thon. I don't know when that will be, but hopefully soon. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'd like to read this one soon though because I am planning on doing a summer recommendations video somewhere in the beginning of July, which means I need to actually get a crack on contemporary books. I've read a lot this past year, but still not enough. Next up is a book that I already read, and that is Stay With Me by this author, whose name I cannot pronounce because I'm an awful person. If you watched any of my 30-day reading challenges, you will see that I read this one in the month of April, and I did like it. I will talk about it more in my wrap-up, but it wasn't, I got a love-hate relationship. Anyway, this follows a Nigerian husband and wife, and the wife is not able to conceive, so the family of this husband has arranged for him to take upon himself a second wife. And while this is very much about the polygamous marriage in Nigeria, it also deals with a lot of cultural things, like how infertility affects the Nigerian culture, affects the family, how also that all plays along with the political Nigeria in the 1980s, because I forgot to mention this takes place in the 1980s. It was a really frustrating, heartbreaking, and interesting book. It just had some issues with the pacing, but again, more on that in my wrap-up video. Next up are 2 books that I bought for my daughter's birthday. I only have one of them with me because we lent out the first one to someone else because we love them so much, and that is The Land of Stories. I got her book 1 and this is book 2, The Enchantress Returns. I have only read book 1, but I really loved it. I actually have a spoiler-free review for The Land of Stories. If you are into middle grade or you're looking for books to read for or with your children or for your children to read on their own, I would really recommend these. They're great storytime fairy tale books with a fantasy twist. They're great for adults, great for kids. I can't wait to read this next one. My daughter has since, with all the money she got for her birthday, purchased for herself the rest of the series. And nothing makes me prouder as a mom than my 9-year-old who has a book addiction just like her mother. Next up, I purchased Wicked Lovely by Marissa Marr. I have also since read this one again. See my 30-day reading challenge vlogs. This one is about a girl named Ashlyn who for some reason can see fairies when nobody else can. She doesn't really know why. Her grandmother and her mother were also able to see fairies. Her mother has since passed away. She lives with her grandmother who has taught her to avoid fairies at all costs, but that's not working out for her anymore because the High Summer King Keenan has found interest in her and he believes that she is the next Summer Queen, but there's a catch. In order to become the next Summer Queen, you have to pick up the Winter Staff, and if you're not the Summer Queen, you turn into Winter Girl, basically eternal cold. And who wants that? Most girls are very excited to become part of the summer court. Ashlyn, however, wants nothing to do with it. I enjoyed this one a lot. I think I gave it a 3 stars. Again, I'll talk more about this in my wrap up. It had some pacing issues. It was a little tropey, but I was prepared for that, so it was okay. I did enjoy it. It's a good dark fairy book. Another book I purchased, again, for my quarterly reading challenge goal, and that is 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. This is the first in a trilogy. I don't really remember what this one was about. I know what it's about, and I could just read it, but I'm lazy. But I know it's about parallel universes, which are my favorite kind of book. So I am excited to read this one. This one is actually on my TBR for May, but May has not been going very well as far as reading goes. So I think it's gonna bump over to June, which you'll hear more about that in my wrap up and my TBR. I feel like this is guys, I got stuff for you, but you gotta wait another week. And lastly is another book that I have already read. I'm on a roll with reading books, my book haul, guys. And that is Obsidio by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. This is the third and final book to the Illuminae Files. The Illuminae Files is a fantastic science fiction book told through multimedia. It's more like a dossier than a story. I really loved it. It follows this huge scandal revolving around a planet called Carenza 4, and Carenza 4 has an illegal colony on it. Somebody out there does not like this illegal colony, and so they destroyed it, and the 3 books are how they are continuously having to cover up the fact that they did something they weren't supposed to do, and it was really good. My favorite book in this series was the second one. I did like this one. I gave it a 4.5 stars, which is lower than the first 2. It was a great book, don't get me wrong, but I didn't like it quite as much as the first 2. But that's just me. Those are all the books that I purchased since my last book haul video. Not so bad. I've been doing pretty good with my book buying. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you have not yet, I'd love for you to subscribe. I promise I'll be here more consistently. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye.